Let's be real. If you've ever had to dig through a massive JSON file, trying to find and change some value, you know the feeling. It's slow, it's frustrating, and honestly, it's a task we've all just kind of accepted as part of the job. But what if you could just talk to your data? What if you could tell it what to do? Today we're going to look at a tool that does exactly that, letting you edit super complex data with just plain English. And yeah, it might just change the way you work.
So be honest with me. When a giant, messy JSON file lands in front of you, what's your go-to move? Are you still rocking the classic Control+F, hunting things down one by one? Or, do you just hit Replace All and hope for the best, kind of crossing your fingers that the whole thing doesn't explode? It really feels like we're always stuck between these two terrible options. On one side, you've got the painful manual click and type method, which is just a recipe for mistakes. And on the other side, you've got the total overkill, writing a whole Python script for a simple one-off task. It's like you're either using a magnifying glass or a sledgehammer, when what you really need is a scalpel.
And here's the thing. It's not you, it's the tools. These old-school methods are just fundamentally broken for the kind of data we deal with today, especially all the messy JSON we're getting from AI. So let's really dig into why they just don't work anymore.
Okay, this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. Your standard text editor is completely blind to context. It has no clue what a JSON field or value even is. So when you search for the word active, yeah, it'll find the status field you want to change, but it'll also find that same word buried deep inside a user comment. It's just a blunt instrument, plain and simple.
And that blindness, that lack of context, leads directly to this huge risk. Hitting Replace All is basically a roll of the dice. You might think you're changing a status from pending to complete, but you could accidentally change part of a file path or a URL that happened to have the word pending in it. There's just zero precision.
Which brings us to maybe the biggest problem of all, security. Come on, we've all been tempted to just paste our JSON into some random online formatter, but the second you do that, your sensitive data, we're talking customer info, company secrets, is now sitting on some third-party server. For pretty much any professional work, that is an absolute non-negotiable deal breaker.
And this just sums it all up, doesn't it? The sheer fragility of the whole process. We have all been there. You make one tiny change, delete one comma you shouldn't have, and boom, the entire file is broken. With manual editing, there's absolutely no safety net.
Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about the solution. This is where a new kind of tool like MegaJSON steps in, because it takes a totally different approach, one that's designed from the ground up to fix all those problems we just talked about.
And this is the core idea, the big what if. What if instead of all that clicking and scripting and worrying, you could just describe what you want? What if you could just tell your editor, in plain English, what change you need to make? I mean, just imagine typing this sentence. The tool actually understands the intent behind your words. It knows what an object is, what a status field is, and it surgically goes in and performs that exact operation with zero collateral damage. Or how about this? Instead of manually adding a new key-value pair to hundreds, maybe thousands of objects, you just state your goal. Add a processed field with value true to all items. That's it. It's simple, it's clear, and it's ridiculously fast.
Now this is a total game changer for anyone working with large language models. We all know that AI-generated JSON can be a total mess, right? It's full of weird formatting and random new lines. Imagine cleaning up an entire file of that mess with just one single command. Okay, so that's the big promise. It sounds amazing, but how does it actually pull it off? Let's get into the specific features that make this kind of smart, intuitive editing a reality. So, MegaJSON gives you two ways to play, which is really smart. First, you've got the super powerful AI-driven natural language commands. You just plug in your own API key and literally talk to your data. But for those times you want a more hands-on approach, or maybe you need to work completely offline, there are these great structured command templates. And this is what that template workflow looks like. It's a really safe, guided process. You just pick a pre-built operation from a menu, and here's the cool part. Because the tool has already scanned your file, it populates the dropdowns with your actual field names. So you just fill in the blanks, you get a preview of exactly what's going to change, and only then do you hit execute. It totally takes the guesswork out of it. Hey, remember that whole no safety net problem we talked about? Well, this is the safety net, a complete step-by-step undo and redo history. Every single operation you perform is tracked as its own distinct step. So if you realize you made a mistake 3 edits ago, no big deal. You can just rewind time right back to that exact point.
And under the hood, there's a ton of other smart stuff going on. The editor automatically figures out your file structure, the schema, so it's always context-aware. It has built-in transformations for common tasks, and it lets you build really powerful conditions. And most importantly, nothing ever happens by accident. Every single bulk change gets staged, so you have to see the preview and give it the final OK.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, privacy. I mean, if you're going to use a tool like this, especially with AI involved, you have to know, really know where your data is going. And the philosophy here is dead simple. Your data should never, ever leave your machine.
The magic trick that makes this possible is called client-side processing. All this means is that the entire application, all the logic, all the analysis, all the editing, it all runs locally, right inside your web browser. Your JSON file is never uploaded anywhere. The people who made the tool never see it because it never gets sent to them, period.
But wait, you might say, what about the AI commands? This is where the security model is so important. When you type in a command, the request goes directly from your browser to the AI provider, like OpenAI. Then the response comes directly back to your browser. MegaJSON is never in the middle. They aren't a proxy, so your data and your private API key are never exposed to them. It's a direct line.
So, where does this actually become a lifesaver? Well, think about all those annoying everyday tasks. Cleaning up those messy AI responses, scrubbing personal information from a database export before you share it, or bulk updating 100 test files at once. These are the kinds of jobs that go from being a multi-hour headache to a single, simple command.
So I guess the real question is, are you ready for a totally new workflow? A way of working where you finally stop wrestling with your data and instead you just start telling it what to do?